Hi there, this is Kim, and in this vlog, I just wanted to share my perspective and my contribution to the Cerise Joe challenge, which is to have a look at the following text, which I will be quoting right now. Imagine for a moment that every person you've ever had a thought about, ever pictured something about, ever had a fantasy about, became fully aware in absolute detail of the content of your thoughts. Every secret revealed, every lie exposed, every dark thought laid bare before them. Would knowing all of this change the way that they see you? And would you be able to face them without shame or guilt? So, I thought it would be cool to, share my experiences and perspectives in relation to this statement because it's something that, I've also had a look at many times in walking my own process of getting to know myself and kind of exposing my own mind and my process of self-change, essentially, which all began with this type of, questioning of myself, because I, you know, became very aware that there were, in fact, a lot of things that I was hiding inside of myself, and that in a way I had become an expert at hiding things. I had become an expert at pretending to be someone or something that I'm not, at hiding the reality of myself. And like, I had created relationships with people that were completely based on lies, that were completely based on a misrepresentation of myself, where these people did not know anything about me, and where often even I didn't want these people to come in contact with other people in my life because I was afraid that they would see who I really am, because like who I really am, or who I more naturally am, like my more natural state, came out more with other people, like old friends or family. That's where I was more kind of um, less hiding things. So I would be afraid of these people, or these two or three or more groups of people coming together, because I was afraid that they would see who I really am. I mean, which is kind of absurd and totally bizarre, but that's what happened. And it was also kind of that way of existing and living, where in a way, to an extent, I started to experience myself as though I was in a prison within myself, as if, oftentimes I just felt really uncomfortable with myself, because to an extent I did understand or experience and saw that, I was not being myself, that I was restricting myself in many ways. So that's kind of where how my process started of getting to know myself, because I realized that within all of this I did not know myself. And I wasn't just hiding myself from other people, most of all I was hiding myself from myself. So that's kind of my background that I um, have in relation to this quote, this challenge. And it's actually a technique, this kind of imagining or visualizing that people saw everything about me, that like every little thought, every little thing I did in my mind was suddenly exposed for the whole world to see, or for just those specific people that those thoughts were about to see. I've kind of used that as an exercise for myself to um, to be able to see more of myself, to be able to see those kind of hidden parts of myself. Because in this exercise, I would essentially kind of visualize myself taking this person in my mind taking either one specific person or a group of people or people in general, and I would place them in front of me, and I would kind of imagine that they could see everything of what's going on inside of myself, and by doing that I could often, it's like there would be certain experiences of shame or embarrassment coming up, which was my cue to know that, there's something I'm trying to hide from this person or people. There's something inside of myself where I'm not being honest, where I'm not being straightforward, I'm not being real, I'm not being sincere with, with them in a way, but most of all with myself, where it's like where I'm deliberately trying to uh, be someone that I'm not. I'm deliberately trying to make these people believe something about who I am that I'm actually not. Like I'm deliberately trying to portray um, a certain image of who I am just so that I could receive something, just because I'm looking for something, like be it respect or value or appreciation or some kind of status, some kind of reputation, some kind of popularity, whatever it is. It's usually where, I'm trying to create this idea of myself that I want to believe in, and so I try to make other people believe in it in this weird way of tricking myself into believing that that's really who I am. So doing this exercise would kind of bring those dimensions out in me, where I would be able to see more clearly what I'm actually doing inside of my own mind. And through doing this, I would be able to get to know myself better, because it's in realizing these aspects in which I am not being honest and not being true to myself, so to speak. These aspects wherein I'm suppressing certain parts of myself because I think that people wouldn't appreciate it, or people wouldn't accept it, or because I'm personally judging these things as inferior or not good enough or not respectable or whatever. It's in seeing those kind of aspects and points within myself that I was able to simultaneously kind of unshackle or unchain myself, kind of take myself for a moment, take myself out of the chains of self-judgment, of, you know, of pretense, of self-suppression. Self-suppression, which is existent within just, trying to be someone that you're not. Um, Being afraid of people seeing certain things of you. So, and even now, this exercise is still relevant, because I've been also looking at, specific points, specific kind of thought patterns that come up in my mind from time to time, where my initial reaction is to want to kind of go into conflict with it, meaning to want to hide it, to want to suppress it inside of myself, because it's aspects that I'm judging and that are not kind of correlating with the idea or image that I like to have about myself. Patterns such as jealousy, like spitefulness or resentment or superiority. It's those kind of patterns, it's those kind of thought patterns that, that I seem to generally have a tendency to react to. So now being in the process of actually bringing those points up, because the beauty of becoming self-honest, the beauty of accepting these parts, of not going into judgment of it, not trying to hide it, not trying to suppress it. I'm not necessarily talking in relation to other people. It's more in relation to myself. The beauty of not suppressing these things, or allowing myself to face these kind of thoughts and patterns that come up in my mind, is that at the same time, it really does feel like a liberation, because these things, it's like not just the pattern in itself, but mostly my own reaction to it of like wanting to suppress it. It is almost like I'm kind of trying to imprison a part of myself, because these patterns, these thoughts, every thought that you have is a part of yourself. It's an expression of yourself, regardless of how you feel about it, regardless of how you judge it or what you think about it. I may think that, jealousy is not a really good trait. I may think that, I don't want people to see that I get jealous. I don't want to be jealous, but at the same time, if it comes up in my mind, it's a part of me. And the more I go and react to it, the more I judge it, the more I try to hide it or suppress it or pretend that it's not there, pretend that I don't think that way, the more I'm just kind of imprisoning these parts of myself, these expressions of myself, which creates this overall experience of tension. It does create that experience of like, where eventually you just kind of don't feel entirely comfortable with yourself in your own skin anymore. And I've realized that that's why. It's because of this tendency to hide and suppress and deny parts of ourselves. So, so basically, that's the process that I'm walking now of bringing out those, or of accepting, first and foremost, accepting these kind of patterns, these kind of thoughts and experiences in my mind where I notice myself going into conflict, going into judgment, trying to hide it, so that I can, first and foremost, accept them and recognize them as a part of myself, and from there enable myself to actually change, not based on judgment, but based on realizing that it's simply not an expression that is supportive for me. Things like jealousy or spitefulness or hate or anger, if I'm suppressing them, I'm not going to be able to find out where they come from, how they exist, what they're doing in myself in the first place. It's only through embracing and accepting that I can move on into change, into understanding, into actual creation and actual supporting of myself to become my best and utmost potential. So that is it for the vlog and for my contribution to this challenge. Thank you, Cerise and Joe, for coming up with this challenge. It's also challenged me to explore this point, and I would encourage anyone watching this vlog to do the same, to take the statement, this quote that I quoted in the beginning of this vlog, and that I will also be adding to the description box below, to take this quote and do something with it, to investigate it, and then share your investigations, or share it in a blog or a vlog or a picture or an art or a song or anything you like. Alrighty, thanks for watching.